Hi guys, it's Colette. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, you're welcome. I've had quite a lot of new subscribers over the last while. So welcome and mind and subscribe. Excuse me, and hit the wee bell because I sometimes give notifications in the community tab when I just feel like typing sometimes, and some photographs there too because I'm not very good at editing and putting photos and stuff in when I'm videoing. Anyway, this is the monthly tarot card for April 2020 and I'm quite nervous about doing it. If you're new, we look at the global situation with one card first, then we look at more personal influences on career, on health, on love, on wealth and on spirituality. Yep. And that will give you an idea of the influences that are round about you. Not everybody will have the hit of the influence. Some will find it background, others will find it right in their faces, and that happens, you know, from months to months. Some people might find that they're really being affected by the influences, others are not. And I'm saying that because, you know, obviously we've got pandemic situations in the world, and these cards could come out good, but they could come out dire. So you need to know that this is only an influence and should be used to guide you. So let's go for it. If you like the way I read the tarot, my book Tarot Novice to Pro in One Book is on all Amazons by Colette Brown and elsewhere as well, but Amazon's sort of where all my books are. There's some books that are with one publisher, some books that are with another, but they're all on Amazon. So let's see, we're going to look at April 2020 and we're first going to look at the global card. Sorry, I've got something in my eye. Maybe Spirit doesn't want me to look, who knows? We'll see. Right, the global situation. Shuffle, 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 shuffle. And down and cut. And the top card is the Seven of Swords. Seven of Swords has a big scary monster on it. And a wee man with light round his head and a wee briefcase, and he's standing right in front of the scary monster, the dragon or the demon or whatever you want to call it. Quite an apt card, don't you think, for the global situation at the moment. This card kind of symbolises futility, that sometimes even if something feels futile, we've got to stand up to it, and that's why you've got the essence of the wee man there with his there's very much light round his head, and he's got his briefcase. Wee man in a suit. He kind of represents kind of all of us that are fighting in some way against this global situation at the moment. Whether he represents us trying to find our good mental health or some sort of balance there, he might represent people who are standing up to the scary monster itself. And you know, sometimes the scary monster is not necessarily, you know, the virus, etc. itself. It could well be that it's actually the government's response round about it, or lack of response. So remember, much as though we feel quite exhausted at times, it's important that we still can stand our ground. I mean, he's not really going and fighting it. He's just standing his ground. He's like, no, I'm not moving. I'm here. It also reminds me of our workers in the NHS and all over the world in health services. They're standing in the front line between the virus, say, and us. And they're standing firm, so we need to support them as best we can by staying in and doing all the things that we should do. So that's the global situation. It stands to reason. We've had that card out a few times in the past. So stand firm. Don't let it overwhelm you. Let humanity stand firm against whatever it has to stand firm against. Now let's see the general, more personal influences. And we're going to go to career and work. Career and work. And the first card off is the Knight of Swords. For career and work, this is a good one because this is always about thinking in the longer term. This Knight, who represents air sign older males, that's Aquarius, Gemini and Libra. You know, in work, you might, if you are an air sign male, you might find that this is your time to shine. This is your time to show what you can do. But as an energy, particularly in the career zone of your spread, it's about maybe getting on with your job, but with an eye on the longer term. And again, I think that's really good advice at the moment. You know, do what you can, whether you're working from home, whether you're self-employed, whether you're on the front line, do what you can and don't lose sight of maybe the longer term where work will be back to some sort of normality. I like that one for career. Yeah, that's good. Health. Oh, jeez. Here we go. Health. Health is the Ten of Swords. Now, this is an important health card. It's mainly about mental health. If you see the jumble of almost the sort of Salvadori looking artwork in there, it says ruin on it, and it just is about our mental health just crashing in. Now, this can be used as a warning for mental health issues. It can tell you that if you've got problems or issues, look after them in the month of April. Don't overstretch yourself. If you know that doing something affects your mental health, don't do it. If you know that for your mental health you need more sleep, then sleep more. If you know that you need a certain medication to keep your self right, don't leave it too long without ordering it up, you know. Make sure that you don't go last minute for meds, because that could be dangerous in situations where maybe there's a lag in certain meds getting through. Yeah, it's fear of the madness, fear of all the anxiety and all the things that can tip us over. So try and not go into fear. Fear has the ability to make us like rabbit. I remember one time having rabbit as a totem, and I was going through a divorce at the time, and rabbit came out as my totem, and I was like, I really don't understand this. But the more I looked and the more I saw, rabbit, you know, if a rabbit gets caught in car headlights, it just freezes and then splat, it's dead, you know. And I was in danger of freezing with, you know, that fear of, oh, what about this? What about my girls? What about this? I was in danger of that. So rabbit actually became a very, very good totem for me at that time. So think of what rabbits do when they are, when they're frightened and don't go there. Rabbits are fertility too, so just watch that. Anyway, it's not a great card. I'm trying to lighten it a wee bit, but Ten of Swords really for health is about really trying to use it as a warning and get in the best stable mental health we can. It also is a card that warns us not to sort of overlook underlying things. You know, if you have been waiting on, say, an operation but can't get it at the moment because of the health service, or without, you know, everything is dealing with the pandemic at the moment, try and do things to make your health as good as possible, boost your health, look after yourself. And I mean, one of the aspects of the Ten of Swords, again back to mentally, can be the cabin fever that we get to. And watch me, because I went on self isolation 3 weeks before everybody else, because my girls were like, you need to get away now, blah blah blah. So I think I'll probably hit cabin fever before other people that just started a week ago. This is nearly my 4th week now. So that can be the mindset as well. So it's important, if you're stuck in a house or a flat, get your windows open, try and get out in a balcony or something like that. Yeah, hard times health-wise, but we know that, the cards are backing up what we know. So let's look at love. Love and relationships. This is a good one. It can be used as a warning as well, and it's got 2 aspects about it. The Ace of Wands is the Ace of Fire. It's about passion, it's about desire, it's about creativity, it's about warmth, and it's also about that sense of emotion that overwhelms us, like seeing red. So in 2 ways, for relationships, it could be quite a passionate time, particularly for males, and enjoy, but watch out for babies in 9 months' time. So, sometimes when there's a trauma out there, we get a sort of a heightened birth rate 9 months later. So enjoy yourselves, but watch out for unplanned pregnancies. You also have this as maybe a warning of not to be too angry with one another. If you're cooped up with a partner and maybe partners are working from home or whatever, that's when explosions can come. So know that this big fiery card is your main influence for the whole of April, and be careful. So it can be looked at in a few ways. One way is passion, the other way is anger. So we're going to wealth now. Let's see. 6 of Swords. Now this used to be known as the card of emigration and movement, and it's quite a difficult one to think of for general wealth. Excuse me, a wee coffee. Because basically in times like we're in, it's sometimes important just to buckle down with finances. But this card's kind of the opposite. It's saying if you can use this time to make movement in finances, then so be it. Now, the way of looking at that is that, it might be time that in this time you see that maybe a bank hasn't been so good to you, or, that you haven't had the right pension rate or whatever, and this is the time to look to potential migrating to a different bank or a different system or a different insurance policy. It's not necessarily saying do it now, it's saying watch what you get here. You could think you've got something really secure and it's not, and then you'll see that and maybe have the time to move it or whatever. Maybe it's just as well that you're learning to live on less, that with lockdowns and stuff, you're just putting the money into food and surviving, which means that if you're getting paid for your job and blah blah blah, all those things, that you can see that you can live on less. And looking at the bigger picture, I know this, I said this was personal, but if we all feel this personally, wouldn't it be lovely to come out of this with a new way of looking at money and wealth? Looking at it as just having what we need and maybe being given the rest away, or making sure that other people have enough, It'll be interesting if this card comes out maybe in some of the, sometimes I do readings that are more focused on specific aspects, like businesses and stuff like that. I'd be interested if this keeps coming out, because it might well mean that capitalism as a way forward might have shown itself not to be the way we need, and might need to be paired with something else or whatever. I'm very, very intrigued by that one. Let me know what your thoughts on that one are. I would love that to know. And now we're going to shuffle and cut for spirituality. Yay! I feel so much tuned in at the moment, so much more tuned in. I think I'm spending an awful lot more time in my reading room. My reading room is also my writing room. It's called my reading room because it's where I do, or used to do, all my readings. And if I'm working with the cards, I'm in here. If I'm writing, I'm in here. And I've also got my own computer links and stuff if I want to meditate or whatever. So I'm in here much more. And this room's got my altar in it. One side's my altar and the other side's all my book plan for the Afterlife book. It's also got my access to white sage crystals. There's crystals everywhere. So I'm spending more time in a very relaxed, gentle, spiritual room. So I'm finding that I feel quite renewed a lot of days just by being in the room. Well, let's see, what are the spiritual cards? Right, okay. 7 of Wands, Valour or Courage, take a leap of faith. Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one for all of us who want to use the situation we're in to go up a level. As I've said, globally, spiritually, we're meant all to be moving up to a kind of next level spiritually. There's no doubt about that. Some people refer to it in different ways, but I think we're all very much realising that we're now making our way into a kind of fifth cycle of man, where spirituality and a different way of living is there. So taking a leap of faith is very much, if you're stuck in the house, if you're worried about everything, because it's hard not to worry, isn't it? Kids, families, older people. Use that energy maybe to dive deeper into your spirituality, or try something new. If you've always said, well, I'd love to move forward and know more about crystals, maybe sign up for a wee online crystal course, maybe sign up for a wee tarot course or whatever. Use this time as something, it's horrific, but use it as a wee bit of a gift as well, a gift of maybe time to do the things spiritually that you've maybe said you wanted to do but didn't have the time. And that's the best way to use that card of taking a bit of a leap of faith. If you've been scared to maybe work with spirits, protect yourself, go for it. If you've been intrigued by oracle cards or angel cards or whatever, go for it. There's no time like the present, is there? So that's a really, really good one. The cards are very much what I could have expected, to be honest. The bad ones or the negative warning ones come out where I thought they would mainly round about the global situation, mental health aspects, and that's fair enough, that's understandable. So the things that we maybe thought that would be there in April have been backed up by the cards, so use them as best you can to make April as survivable as possible. I heard someone say don't survive but thrive, and that's an interesting one, because we're all, things are getting worse in the UK and certainly in the USA, and God help Italy and Spain and whatever. There's so much worry coming. But you could find that you thrive by maybe sending distance healing, joining a healing group online, focusing on sending energy and protection to maybe some of our first responders. In that way, you wouldn't just survive, you would thrive as well. So I'm going to try and keep that one in my mind and work with it. So please, please, please be safe. Shelter in place. Self-isolate. If you get the virus, I hope it's mild, and I hope that you have symptoms you can cope with. And remember, just keep putting one foot in front of the other. Just keep taking every minute as it comes, and be the revenant. I've got a video about how to get through this time, and my mantra is be the revenant. And if you've seen the film, you'll know what I mean. Just keep going. We watch films, don't we, with heroes in it. Cora, I will find you, and the revenant, just breathe, and and we're in a situation where normal everyday people are becoming our heroes, and societies are doing amazing things. Your heart must be as open as mine when you hear people on balconies singing, especially in Italy, where they seem to have beautiful voices. When you see people clapping their nurses and whatever, there's a big sense of, we get to see sometimes we see the bad side of humanity at times like this, but you look and 1,000 times more you'll see the good things. They just don't get reported. But in your own communities, I think you'll see more good than bad. So keep going, and hopefully May's forecast will be better. And I love yous, and welcome all newbies, and just be safe. Many blessings now.